Hello, welcome to my channel. I am Jumbo Gems. So today, we're going to start off with a little bit of an issue. So my goal was to create a Bulbasaur planter sticker, but while recording, my software crashed. So from here, I'm just going to take a screenshot of what I had done previously and trace over it. So we're using the symmetry tool here. Just to get it all nice and crisp and neat on both sides of the head. This was my second time using Clip Studio Paint. So there might be a little bit of wobbliness, but we're working through it. We're getting there. So as you can see, I'm just making the lines a bit crisper across that symmetry line. Now moving on to the plant pot here. So this is quite sped up, and I will cut some parts out so you don't have to see me draw and redraw a bunch of lines. Moving on to the bulb for Bulbasaur. Just cleaning up those lines, making sure it's nice and symmetrical, obviously with the ruler in place. So my goal is to do all three of the Kanto starters, which I have in the works coming up. I know this is the first video, but if you want to see them, feel free to subscribe, put on some notifications or something, and you might be able to see them in the near future. But my goal is to create these kind of like cute sticker versions of all the starters. There's 27 for the 9 generations. My personal favorite starter was my very first, which is Mudkip, so I'm very excited to draw him. But what's your favorite? I know a lot of people like Bulbasaur. He's probably my favorite from the Kanto region. So just moving on to the eyes, the most important, kind of the make or break of the picture. If the eyes don't look good, you can definitely tell something's off. So I'm trying a few times to get that perfect center bit for the eye, beautiful white center of the eye. Yeah, so it's looking good. I've turned off the symmetry now to create the scale patches and that middle leaf. I wanted to look a bit more organic, so I didn't use the symmetry tool here. So for all my reference photos, I have taken those off Cerebi, the website. I often use it to play my games for all the different stats and how they evolve. So that's where this picture's from, where I'm taking the color from. And we're just going to start coloring him in. And with some quick movie magic, it might be a little bit easier than it seems. Obviously I have a bunch of layers trying to find the correct layer. But we're going to color him in. We're going to start with the head. A little kaboom, kaboom. And wow! Wasn't that so easy? Isn't digital art so fun and quick? It's not like this is sped up or edited in any way. One of my favorite parts about Clip Paint Studio is this shading assist. And as you can see here, I'm just looking through the different shading options. I love shading. I think it makes a drawing look really good. But the colors, I can never get them quite right. So I'm just using shading assist here to pick those colors for me while I go through and shade the pot to start with, and then obviously I'll move on to shade the rest. And while we're watching this beautiful shading happen right before our eyes, I'm going to read to you some Bulbasaur facts. So in the first generation, Red and Blue, when it was introduced, the Pokédex entry says, a strange seed was planted on its back at birth. This plant sprouts and grows with this Pokemon. So I thought, a plant pot, sprout, pretty spot on for that. In generation 2, it says the seed on its back is filled with nutrients. The seed grows steadily larger as the body grows. And in Crystal, it says while it's young, it uses the nutrients that are stored in the seeds on its back in order to grow. So this seed, this Bulbasaur bulb on the back of its back, is both the nutrients to help it grow, but it also grows bigger when it grows. It's a little bit confusing, but Pokemon are a little bit confusing in general. And as we come to Generation 3, the Ruby Sapphire Emerald. Emerald is my personal favorite. I'm a bit biased, it was my first game. It says that Bulbasaur can be seen napping in the bright sunlight. There is a seed on its back, and by soaking up the sun's rays, this seed grows progressively larger, which I guess answers our question. As we go through the different generations and look at the different Pokedex entries, we kind of see where this is coming from. And I've just skipped some of the shading from the head and the pot to go to the eyes. I think the eyes are great. The shading is always really fun on the eyes. You really get to bring some life into the character. So I'm just adding some highlights to the tops of the eyes, and I'll add some shadows to the bottom. And this is where we can really see it all come together and come to that beautiful, cute little plant of a Pokemon. And now I'm playing with some white highlights to kind of give it a cute little shine, because it is kind of like a scaly Pokemon. So a little bit of that white shine on the eyes, on the back, on the little scales on its head, just to bring it a little bit of cuteness, a little bit of shininess, even though it's not a shiny Pokemon. What was everyone's first shiny? I think my first shiny must have been... I know my first shiny was in Scarlet and Violet, because that's the only game that I've actually finished. I played Emerald on an emulator as a kid, and then never touched Pokemon again until recently. It might have been Dragapult. I really like Dragapult. So right now I'm just checking the background to make sure that there's nothing out of line, and I'm kind of fiddling around with the tools to create that white sticker backing, about 15 pixels all the way around. There we go. And just get that beautiful white so it looks like a sticker, and then you can use this little PNG wherever I like. It's actually in my YouTube banner if you want to go check that out as a little sneaky peek. Now we get to my favorite part of the drawing that makes it look really cute, really professional. I'm colouring in the line art to match with the colour of the actual drawing, and then I'll go in and then add the shading to the line art, as you can see here. So where the darker shading touches the line art, I'll make the line art a bit darker, and a bit lighter where it's lighter, and it really brings some cute dimension to quite a flat image. So some more Bulbasaur facts. IGN rated Bulbasaur as the 52nd top Pokemon of all time, which is a little surprising. I assume it was a lot of people's first Pokemons. So 52's, I mean, it's good out of the 1,000 Pokemon there are, but thought he'd get a little more love. So also, obviously, he's number 001 in the Kanto Pokedex, the very first Pokemon on forever. So he's quite special. Only one Pokemon can be number 1. Bulbasaur is also the 3rd most commonly seen Pokemon in all the anime series. Obviously, number 1 would have to be Pikachu, and number 2 would be Team Rocket's Meowth. But then Bulbasaur is 3rd, which is really interesting. I don't really remember him that much in the anime, but I haven't seen all of it, so I guess I can't comment on that. And also, what is on Bulbasaur's back? I've heard people say it's an onion, but all the green onions I know are like shallots or spring onions, which I don't feel is what that is. I've always thought it was like a plant bulb, like just before it becomes a flower, you know, like bursting. Quick little transition here. So now I've done the line art shading for the rest of the piece, and we're just going to focus on the eyes. I always find the eyes the most interesting. So you can see me trying to figure out which lines are above which, because I don't name my layers, and I need to start doing that. It is quite annoying. But we're just adding that shading on the line art to really make the eyes pop in that beautiful red, kind of pinky maroon tone there. So I'd love to know what Pokemon you want to see next. Obviously, I have the 27 starters lined up, and a few more secret projects on the way. But yeah, this is my Bulbasaur. I'm really loving it so far. Just finishing off the eyes here, giving them that nice grey to complement the white, and then doing the final shadows. And there we go. That is my Bulbasaur planner. If you liked this video, feel free to give it a quick little like. Thank you for watching, and this has been Jumbo Jam. I hope you have a lovely day.